everyone, Live It Like Lisa here, and in today's video I will be giving these two vintage suitcases a bit of a makeover, and they will be used in my master bedroom as some decor and some display, and probably some storage as well, because let's be honest, why waste it? It would be good for storing pillows and that sort of thing in. So what I'll be planning to do with these is I'm going to be painting them white and distressing them, and I'll be using my homemade chalk paint. So for my homemade chalk paint, if you haven't seen any of my videos before, all I do is use a little bit of plaster of Paris, I've got in here about 1/4 cup, and I mix this with 1/4 cup of water, mix it together to form a smooth consistency, and then add about 1 cup of your paint of choice to this container, and then mix it all together, and that will create a nice homemade chalk paint. And the paint that I use is just the cheapest possible paint you can get. It's just the Ceiling White super flat matte paint, and this was from Bunnings. It's a 6-litre tin, and I think it was only about $20 or $30, something like that. So super cheap. And yeah, and the beauty of making your own chalk paint is you're able to use any color you want. So once you've made up your little plaster of Paris mix, you can go to your local hardware store, choose any paint color you want, and mix it with that, and voila, you have your own chalk paint. So I'll set the camera up and we'll get started giving these two suitcases a bit of a makeover. So first step, we're going to paint the whole suitcase completely white, both inside and out. And you'll probably need to do 2 coats to fully cover the suitcase. So this is the second coat going on now. And like I said, I'm painting the inside as well. Now the inside painting, I only did 1 coat and just made it a very rough, rustic type finish. So I didn't cover it completely white, I just left it pretty much just with 1 coat. Okay, so what I'm doing here, I'm going to paint some stripes onto the top of the suitcase, just on the smaller one. I'm leaving the bottom one, the bottom suitcase, like the bigger suitcase, just plain white. But on the top suitcase, I'm going to be painting some grain sack type striping over the top of it. So I'm just using a flexible tape measure here just to draw a line, a thicker line around about 2 centimeters or 1 inch in thickness down the sides of the suitcase, pretty much in line with the clasps of the suitcase, and then I'll draw 2 thinner lines on either side of that. I'm just using a pencil here just to mark it out so I can paint over it. Alright, so before I paint on the stripes, I've just printed off this label from the internet, and if you want to find the exact label, I'll leave it in my Pinterest board under labels and printables, and it's just a like a postal type label you can get from Pinterest, and I've just printed it off on an A4 sheet,
and I'm just going to use some PVA glue just to stick it to the front of the suitcase. And like I've told you in many of my videos previous, always put the glue on the paper thing that you're sticking down rather than the actual thing you're sticking it to. That way you'll have less wrinkles in your finished product. Once that's dry, you want to go over it with some white paint, like a dry brush technique, and just lightly go over the whole label with some of the same white paint that you've been using to paint the suitcase. This will just tone it down, blend it into the suitcase a little bit more, and make it look a little bit more aged. Okay, so now that that's dry, we're going to paint the stripes onto the suitcase, and I'm just using a flat paintbrush to do this. I find it gives a sharper edge. Yeah, just take your time and paint your stripes on. Alright, so now we're just going to go back over the brown stripes just with some of that white paint again, and just lightly dry brushing over the brown stripes just to tone them down a bit and make them look a little bit more aged and weathered. Okay, once all the paint's dry, just get some sandpaper. Usually about 100 to 150 grit is probably the best to use, and just start sanding down the edges just to distress it a little bit. And I just sort of tend to go to the areas where you would imagine would get the most use, so around the corners and the edges of the suitcase, around the handle and the clasps, like the locks, and yeah, basically just wherever you think it would normally age. And you can use the suitcase as a guide as well, so where it's got some creases and dents and things like that, those are the areas that I would be distressing as well, because clearly they're the ones that have been, you know, that's where the suitcase has sort of been damaged or beaten up a bit.
Well, there you go, guys. There's a finished suitcases now. I've just got them sat on a chair at the moment, but when they are in my bedroom, they'll be probably sat on straight on the floor, but just so I can film them a little bit easier. So as you can see, I've just gone around and distressed all the edges a little bit, around the side as well. This side not so much, because that's going to be up against the wardrobe, so you won't really see it as much. That's that one with the, I did like a grain sack striping on it, and just put like a postage label on there as well. So that's that one, and just all the distressing everywhere. I'm really happy with the way these have turned out, actually. I'm yeah, quite pleased. So there'll be a nice addition to my room once it's all done up. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. It was super easy. Like, it was, I mean, you can see by the video, it's so easy. And yeah, I hope if it's something that you like, give it a go yourself. And yeah, stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you enjoy farmhouse decor. I've got pretty much a whole month of bedroom farmhouse projects coming up on my channel while I give my bedroom a makeover. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out. And I will see you in my next video. video. Thanks for watching.